Hello and welcome to Wednesday Live with Evie. I believe this is number 64. So today's topic is the motivation myth. So we're going to be talking about motivation and inspiration a little bit today. And if you're new to Wednesday Lives with Evie, this is where I talk about a productivity topic. And if you're new to me, I work with entrepreneurs and I help them take productivity to a new level. So at the end of the day, they don't have to worry about what didn't I get done today or what has to get done tomorrow, but instead they can just be completely and fully present with the people that they decide to spend their off hours with. So, like I said, today's topic is on motivation, and say hello in the comments. Let me know you're here, and let me know, when do you feel most motivated? Share that in the comments, whether you're watching live or on the recording. And around motivation, there's this myth, this comment, this misconception maybe that I hear sometimes, where I hear people talking about how successful people are motivated to do the things that lead to success. And I wonder if that's true sometimes, or whether they do the things that lead to success, whether or not they particularly want to. They want the success, so they do the things that they need to do, not that they're particularly motivated to do those things intrinsically. So a lot of times when we talk about motivation, we talk about, we could replace it with, instead of saying she was motivated to do that, she wanted to do that, she was inspired, she looked forward to it, things like that. But I bet you were motivated to have your taxes completed early last week. Not that you really wanted to or even enjoyed it, but you had an incentive to do it, right? You had a reason. It needed to get done because the government tells us we need to do it, and they will penalize us if we don't have it done by a certain time. And that's what motivates us to do it. So it's not that we particularly wanted to do our taxes, we just didn't want to be penalized or pay a fine, right? So, do you know what the root word of motivate is? Have you ever really thought about it? The root word of motivate is motive. And a lot of times when I think of the word motive, what immediately comes to mind are crime dramas, or even kind of crime comedies. My husband and I really enjoy crime things with a decent amount of comedy thrown in. And anytime you're talking about a crime TV show or movie, one thing that's going to pop up is, what was their motive? Why did they do that? And motive is something that causes a person to act, like that tax deadline, right? And sometimes, the motive is a desire to do something we enjoy. Sometimes it's because we need to do something. Sometimes the motive is because there's a punishment if we don't do it. Or sometimes it's because there's a reward if we do it, right? So when you're motivated to do something, you might not want to do it, but you know that the end result is what you want, so you might do it anyway. Now, in 2011, I still remember this video, and it's because it was in 2011, it had to have been one of the first blog posts that I put on my website. In 2011, I shared a video by Craig Benzine, and he's better known throughout the YouTube universe as Wheezy Waiter. He's I would consider him a minor YouTube celebrity. And his video was about inspiration. And you can easily substitute motivation for that. And in the video, one of the things that he said, and I'll share the link to the video on my website later. In the video, he said, and I quote, "If you want to create something and you're not feeling inspired, take a closer look as to why that is, or just ignore it and start doing stuff, unquote. So motivation, there's a lot of like background digging you can do into why don't I want to do this? Like, what is a limiting belief? What is, going on here? Why am I avoiding doing this? Or you can just start doing it. One of the coaches that I worked with for a while, like she was my coach, one of the things that she said was there's two ways through things. Either you can go through and figure out why that's coming up and like what the backstory is and what's going on there, or you can give yourself a new experience. And she said a lot of times giving yourself the new experience is going to be faster, but sometimes you do need to go back and figure out what's going on. But those are the two ways through those things. So the other side of this motivation is the thought that I had earlier this week. I jotted it down in my notebook that kind of prompted this discussion today. And what I jotted down was motivation versus making it easy. So sometimes like we're not motivated to go to the gym, right? We want those results, but getting out of bed at whatever time in the morning to do it isn't going to happen. We're motivated, we want to eat better, but you know what? That cookie is just so easy to eat, or that piece of chocolate, or fill in the blank. We are motivated to have, a successful business, but you know what? Making those phone calls or showing up at those networking events prepared, or, fill in the blank is really hard. We're motivated to get those things in our business done that we want to get done, but trying to figure out what the priorities are, sometimes it's just really difficult, right? So what if you could make those things easy though? What if you could set it up so it wasn't so difficult to do the things that you're motivated to do, but for whatever reason, they're not happening for you? So instead of focusing on creating that motivation, you focused on making it easy. So the paradox sometimes of making things easy is it can require a little more work on the front end. So you do an hour of work, this week, so that task that you do every week that takes you 40 minutes only takes you 20 minutes. So what is that? Over the course of 3 weeks, you earn that time back, and then you're just have an extra 20 minutes every week, right? Sometimes we don't want to do those things, but sometimes if you give that extra time on the front end, you can save yourself so much time, so much hassle on the back end, and really get those things done because you've made it easy for yourself versus waiting for the motivation to hit you to get that done. So something you might do is cut up vegetables the night before, the morning before, and put those on your desk so that when you get the munchies, it's really easy just to eat those vegetables instead of getting up and having a cookie. Maybe you plan out tomorrow night or tomorrow today so that you don't have to get up in the morning and try to figure out what, especially if you're not a morning person, what it is that you need to be doing that day. You build relationships with people because it's fun, because it's engaging, because you create that community. And then the bonus is you have a number of people that know what's going on in your business. So when you're offering a new program or a new webinar or whatever, it's easy to share that with them and they'll share it versus you not taking that time to build those relationships, and then you're reaching out to people only when you have things to sell. Maybe you lay out your clothes and map the route to that networking event the night before so that that new networking event maybe that you're uncomfortable with, so that it's easy for you to get yourself there. You don't have to make decisions about it, right? And part of this is, I don't know if you've ever heard this term, I know Mary's here live, and I know Mary's heard me talk about this before, is there is such a thing as decision fatigue. So have you ever gone through the day and then you are thinking about how hungry you are, and you go into the kitchen and you're like, oh, I just don't want to make another decision. And then a husband or a kid says, what's for dinner tonight? And you're like, I don't know, you figure it out. And they're like, what's going on? Like, I just asked a simple question. And yeah, it's a simple question, but you are so done with making decisions. And even making a decision of what are you doing for dinner, just like you're done, because you've been making decisions all day, right? Whether it's in your business or in a job or whatever it is, like you've been making decisions all day and your brain is just literally tired. It's fatigued from all those decisions. Making decisions literally takes more energy in your brain than just doing something. That's one of the reasons why habits are so habitual, is you don't have to make a decision about them. Like, you just do them because they're habit, they're easy. So sometimes motivation is just about creating those habits so that those decisions are really easy. You know, the planning out tomorrow so you don't have to make those decisions first thing in the morning so you have more energy. The cutting up the veggies so they're available so you don't make the easy decision of having the cookie, right? So let's see, what does Mary say? Yes, exactly, Mary. The decisions pile up and your brain doesn't understand the difference between business decision and family decision. Your brain is just like, more decisions. I'm done. I'm tired. No more decisions. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and you said nobody around there will help you decide dinner. Yeah, that happens sometimes. But yeah, so sometimes motivation isn't about, hey, I feel like doing this, right? So when somebody says, you know, successful people, what was the thing that I said at the beginning? That successful people are motivated to do the things that lead to success. The truth of the matter is they are. But it's not because they want to do those things, and it's not because they were always easy to do, but they wanted the result, right? So they were motivated to do those things. They made it easy for them to do that. You know, you think about Steve Jobs. He always wore, right, the turtleneck and the jeans. And one of the reasons he did that was he didn't want to have to decide what he was wearing every day. So that was his uniform. He didn't have to think about it. He pulled the jeans, he pulled the turtleneck. That was his outfit. And he was saving that decision energy for the things that really mattered to him, for the things that he wanted to be doing or making decisions about that would lead to the success. So next time you hear somebody talk about motivation and, you know, rah, rah, you want to do this, remember that motivation isn't always rah, rah, and I'm so excited to do this and I'm looking forward to it. Motivation can also be, you know, doing things that you don't necessarily want to do, but you want the results, so you sit down and you do them anyway. And you don't wait for, you know, some muse or some inspiration fairy to come and tap you on the head with their magic wand or their fairy dust. You tap yourself on the head, you give yourself the fairy dust, and you move forward and you decide, this is what I'm going to do. And before I end, a couple of things. A couple of questions. What is one thing in your business or even your life that you want to make easier? If you want to share that below, you know, do that. I would love to know, what is something in your life that you want to make easier? Or what's something in your life or your business that you're going to change so that it becomes easier to consistently do it? I'd love to know what those things are below. And if this is something that you want help with, this motivation, this how to stay focused, how to make things easier for yourself so that you don't have to always be making decisions or relying on that, I feel like doing that today. Then I have a program that is starting May 9th called Take Your Productivity to a New Level. And this is one of the things that we focus on is how do you stay focused? How do you manage distractions? How do you keep your motivation up? And how do you plan things so that things get done? So a couple of quick stories I want to tell around this. Thank you, Mary, for sharing the link. Mary's a rock star. She's been through this program a couple of times and always walks away with a deeper level of understanding, and I love that. So a couple of quick stories I want to share from people who have been in the program. So one is I had a client that went through this program where she had a really busy time in her business. Like she had a lot of meetings, a lot of client work that was coming up, and she reverted to her previous bad habits where things were on little pieces of paper all around her desk. And it was kind of chaotic. So after about 2 weeks, she was like, okay, I'm going to take this afternoon. I have, 2-3 hours, and I'm going to get everything organized again. And she gave herself 2 or 3 hours because in the past, that's how long it took her to kind of get on top of everything again and know what needed to get done so that nothing fell through the cracks. And we were talking, and she said, Evie, it was really amazing. It took me a half hour. This normally takes me 2 or 3 hours. It took me a half hour to get back on track. And it was all because she had done this program. She had been implementing it, doing the work, staying on top of things up until the point where business kind of went happily crazy. And it didn't take her that 2 or 3 hours to really get back on track again. And she basically got, an hour and a half, 2 hours back in her week as a result. Another story that I'm going to share is of a client who, through this program, has done the work, has implemented it in her life, and she had some unexpected things happen in her life where it pulled her away from her business. And because she had done the things that she had learned in this program, she knew, okay, these are the things that I need to focus on with my limited time and attention right now so that my business can keep moving in a forward direction, even though I don't have the amount of time to dedicate to it that I normally would. And so she was able to, adjust her focus and just focus on those things that she really needed to focus on to keep the momentum going in her business, and then be there for the friends and family that she wanted to be there for, and then come back and really hit the ground running again once she came back and was able to devote time in her business and not lose momentum in her business or look like she had dropped off the face of the earth. So if these are things that you want in your business, look at the program, reach out to me and chat. I'm happy to chat with you to help you decide if this program or something else is a good fit for you. But whatever it is that is the next step for you in your business, don't wait for the motivation to do that program or talk to that person. And, obviously it might not be me, maybe it's somebody else, that's fine. But don't wait for the motivation to do that. Reach out to that person and get the support and the help you need so that your business can go where you want it to go. All right. So again, my name's Evie Burke. That's it for this week's Wednesday Live with Evie, where we talked about the motivation myth. And until next week, much love.